Hello everyone, welcome back to Evoverse. This time Evoverse will recap the movie from 2003 titled Willard. This movie tells the story of a young man with an unusual connection to rats who uses them at his own sociopathic will. How is the next story? Let's review the storyline of this movie. We remind you all what we are going to say, this is a spoiler. For those of you who don't have a problem with spoilers, let's continue the story and enjoy. The movie begins with a scene showing a man who is entering the basement. He sees a burnt rat that has been electrocuted by an electric cable. The man then inspects the basement and sees a lot of rat droppings. He also sees several other rats that are hiding. The man went to the shop to buy rat repellent. However, the rat repellent was sold out, and all that was left was a regular rat trap. Whether the man wanted to or not, he had to buy the rat trap. When he got home, he installed quite a lot of rat traps. Then this man went upstairs and intended to rest. While going up, he was called by a woman from a room. It turned out that the woman was the man's mother. From their conversation, the man's name was Willard. Willard lived with his mother who was seriously ill, while Willard's own father had died a few years ago. Morning came, Willard woke up and immediately checked the rat trap he had set, but strangely, not a single rat was hit by the trap Willard had set. Long story short, it was known that Willard was an employee at a manufacturing company. He rushed into the office because he was already several hours late. When he arrived at the office, it turned out that his desk was already occupied by a new employee named Catherine. Willard was told by a manager that their boss named Martin wanted to meet with Willard. He entered Martin's office feeling very nervous. Willard was reprimanded by his boss because he had been late to the office all week. Willard argued that he was busy taking care of his mother who was seriously ill. From their conversation, it was also known that this company was a company built by Willard's father. But because his father had died, the company was continued by his father's partner, Martin. Willard, who was always late, made the company's sales stagnate and lose money, to the point that Martin was furious. When he returned home, Willard returned to the shop. He immediately bought some rat glue for the next rat trap. At night, he heard the sound of rats from the basement. There was a white rat that was caught in a rat glue trap. Willard wanted to kill the rat, but instead, he felt sorry for it, so instead of killing it, he helped the white rat to escape from the rat glue he had set. Willard seemed to feel happy with the white rat, and the white rat was named Socrates. Then he returned the white rat to his family again. It was also seen that Willard fed the rats for free. When he wanted to return to the room, it turned out that Socrates returned from his nest. Immediately, Willard was touched and he invited Socrates to sleep with him. The next day, Willard returned to his office and was late again. Martin, who lost his temper, locked Willard, who wanted to get out of the elevator. Martin said, "I just bought the most expensive Mercedes car in its class, and people like you who are lazy will not be able to afford it. Because only successful people like me can afford luxury cars." From his gaze, Willard was annoyed by Martin's behavior. Then Willard was left just like that, locked in the elevator. Fortunately, Catherine, the new employee, helped Willard out of the elevator. Willard, who has a lot on his mind, is brooding in the basement. He tells Socrates to tear up the newspaper he is holding, but the other rats follow suit. Then he sees a rat with the largest size of the others, and he calls the rat by the name, Ben. In the next scene, Willard trains the rats in his house, and somehow his rats seem to be getting more and more. Willard also feeds the rats like pets. All the training Willard applies to his rats. The rats are trained how to run fast, tear, and also bite. He also trained his rats to enter and exit according to his orders. When he entered the office, Willard was late again for the umpteenth time. He had to be scolded again by Martin. Willard's salary for a week had to be cut because of his indiscipline. Angry, Willard immediately looked for Martin's address card. At night, he told his rat to enter the big bag he was under. When Ben wanted to enter, Willard forbade him on the grounds that Ben's size was too large to allow other rats to enter. While Willard was tying the bag, he did not realize Ben had just entered. He went with his rat to Martin's house. When he arrived, Willard told the rat to enter Martin's garage. Quickly the mice did as Willard directed. When he opened the other bag, Willard was surprised that the contents of the bag were just Ben. He said that Ben's body would not fit into the garage. But as it turned out, Ben's strength was much stronger than the others. In the end, Willard's goal was achieved. All 4 tires of Martin's luxury car had been completely damaged. When he arrived at the office, it was seen that Martin's car had not been parked. All employees in the office laughed after knowing what happened to Martin's luxury car. Innocently, Willard asked what happened. He also looked very satisfied with what the rats had done last night. When he woke up, Willard was surprised because Ben was in his bed. He chased Ben and tried to hit him. But without realizing it, it turned out that Willard's mother was not in the bedroom. He rushed to check the kitchen room. Willard was shocked to see that the kitchen was filled with so many rats. At that time he was also confused about why the basement door was just open. It turns out, Willard's mother had died surrounded by rats. Willard, who was in shock, told the rats to go to the basement. The police came to Willard's house and brought his mother's body. Willard looks very sad and disappointed with what happened to him. Willard confided in Socrates and said that Socrates was the only friend he had. During the funeral procession, it was seen that no one came to his mother's funeral. But fortunately, there was still one person who cared about Willard, Catherine. Catherine also said that she wanted to make sure Willard was okay. When he got home, there were a lot of rats roaming around the room. Suddenly there was a knock on the door from outside, which turned out to be Catherine. Catherine wanted to give Willard something, but she saw that Willard was lonely and had no friends at home. Therefore, Catherine gave Willard a cat. Whether Willard wanted to or not, he had to accept the cat. The cat was afraid of the rat, which was very numerous. The cat tried to escape as much as possible, but still, the cat was chased by the rat and had to be eaten by the rats. Long story short, Willard, who was already stressed out, tried to end his life. Willard felt he had nothing left now. His father had died and his mother had also died because of the rats. But Willard's attempt to commit suicide was stopped by Socrates. The morning arrived, and Willard, who wanted to go to the office, planned to bring Socrates, but Ben wanted to come too. In the end, Willard allowed Ben to come with the reason Willard heard Socrates say it was okay. When he arrived at the office, Willard put Socrates and Ben in the office warehouse. Willard, who returned to his office desk, was confused because on his desk there was a letter. So confused, he told Catherine to read the contents of the letter. It turned out that it was Willard's dismissal letter. Willard immediately did not accept it and went straight to Martin's room. On the other hand, Christmas is coming soon. The office manager told Catherine to get the Christmas decorations from the office warehouse. But Catherine said that she didn't feel like working in that office anymore. Catherine throws the warehouse key to the manager and leaves the office. Willard, who was protesting to Martin, did not realize that the manager was trying to get into the office warehouse. While they were arguing, suddenly there was a woman scream from the warehouse. It was clear that it was the manager's scream. The manager said that there was a white rat in the warehouse. Then Martin immediately finished Socrates with an iron rod until he bled. Willard, who saw Socrates being killed, was shocked instantly. When it was over, Willard offered to clean up the white rat's body. At night, Willard plans a revenge mission against Martin. He and Ben order all the rats to get into the many bags he carries. Martin, who was in the office until the evening, was still busy. Willard, who had arrived at the office, immediately prepared everything carefully. How surprised Martin was when he saw that many rats had entered his room. Then came Willard with his rat army. Immediately Martin fought back using a golf club. When Martin wanted to get into the elevator, suddenly Ben fell from above and bit Martin's neck. Willard locked the elevator as a form of revenge that Martin had also locked himself in the elevator. The rat army immediately gnawed on Martin's body mercilessly. But for some reason, Willard left Ben and his friends in the elevator. Then the rats that were still in the house were locked up by Willard in the basement. He threw rat poison into the basement, and the remaining rats died. The carcasses of the dead rats were burned by Willard. Willard also closed all the gaps in his house so that the rats would not come back. The next day, Catherine's voice was heard from outside calling Willard's name. Catherine informed Willard that Martin had been found dead in the office. Catherine also said that the cause of Martin's death was an animal attack. Willard didn't want to say much. He invited Catherine to lunch. But Willard said that he would prepare the coat first. Catherine, who was waiting, had to pee. Without Willard realizing, Catherine just went into the toilet. Willard, who was preparing his coat, was shocked to see that the hole he had patched was already perforated. Catherine, who had finished peeing, did not realize that there were many rats in the toilet. Willard immediately rushed Catherine out of the house. When they wanted to leave, it turned out that Catherine's car tires had been deflated by rats. Willard panicked and went back into the house. Willard wanted to kill Ben and his friends before being caught. Suddenly a horde of rats tried to attack Willard. Willard, who was cornered, tried to seduce Ben, and he said that there was food prepared for Ben and his friends. But as it turned out, the contents of the food bag were rat traps. Willard immediately caught Ben with the bag. Ben had to be trapped in a rat trap. Immediately, all the rats attacked Willard, and amazingly, Ben escaped the rat trap with his legs cut off. Willard was scared and tried to escape from the window. He asked Catherine for help, but Catherine seemed to have realized what Willard had done. Without thinking, Catherine, who had been too kind to Willard, just left him. Willard, who tried to escape through the attic, met Ben again. Willard was bitten on the face by Ben. In the end, Willard fell into a crowd of rats and the movie ended. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and see you on the next movie recap.